Hey, yo, yous, guyses, how's it going? We in here right now, doing things, big things, the biggest things. I've had a Nintendo Switch for years, and I've been dying to incorporate it into my musical workflow. Outside of the usual sampling of game tunes, I was yearning for more. I wanted to actually make music on my Switch, or with my Switch. The idea of using joysticks and D-pads to make my beats was pretty alluring, and I needed to find a solution. Looking into this, I discovered a nifty little program called Korg Gadget. Usually found on the Apple Store, this is a version of Korg Gadget exclusive to the Switch. For some history, Korg and Nintendo have had some nifty and peculiar collaborations in the past, such as Korg DS10, M10D or something like that. I'll leave them in the description. Gadget is wickedly powerful for the price. I've been making music on my computer for a decade now, and I can tell you that usually music software, VSTs, plugins, the instruments that you would use, they are not cheap. Every once in a while you can find a fringe yet free good plugin, but for the most part, anything decent costs a pretty penny. Now, normally, Gadget for Switch is about $48 USD, but for the month of March 2023, or at least most of the month, it's actually 50% off, so it's only $24, so I had to buy it. $24 to turn my Switch into a sound module was like a dream come true, and I couldn't wait to get started. Now, I know there's going to be some naysayers cocked and ready to go saying, don't waste your time on the Switch version, get the iOS version, it's better, it has more gadgets, blah, 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 blah. Well, the problem with that is I don't own any Apple products, so that automatically disqualifies that for me. I already own a Switch, so it was a no-brainer. So basically, if you're like me and you don't own any Apple products, but you do have a Switch, it just makes more sense to buy Gadget on the Switch. Gadget for Switch does lack some quality of life features though. Like there's no MIDI, there's no export options, there's no clock sync. It's like these really weird things, but considering the price and the format it's on, it's not all bad, I guess. A personal plus for me is the controller support. Like I said, it's awesome that I can use the joysticks and the D-pads and the buttons to make music. It just feels awesome and intuitive, and I've just been looking for that kind of workflow for quite some time. Not only is it very intuitive, but within a couple minutes, I was already making beats. They keep it simple enough for you to navigate around pretty easily, but complicated enough to make some really good bangers on here. The built-in gyroscope is also sick because you can grab a parameter with the A button and then you can shift around the Switch to modulate it, which I think is just super fun and is very, very cool. Most of all the gadgets, if not all the gadgets, also have scale options. So if you don't know how to play music, it's very easy to just pick a key and stay in key, and it's just, it's awesome. It's so good. But of course, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, as nothing can be. The lack of export options really is a letdown. The only options you have is if you do own an iOS device, you can export from Switch you can send the MIDI to Korg Gadget on iOS and then export your song, which quite frankly is just a pain in the ass. At that point, you might as well just use your iPad. On the other hand, on here, you can just record each of the tracks through the headphone out, which is most of the time what I'm going to be doing anyways. And even though I like the joystick controls, and I do think that they're awesome, they are a bit sensitive for my liking. It can be tough to really get things where I want them to be. Especially when controlling volume, it seems like it's almost easier to use the gyroscope to do volumes, which is odd. Speaking of the gyro can be hella fiddly too. I mean, sometimes grabbing parameters with that thing, you can wave this thing all around and you literally can't tell what it's really supposed to be doing or what direction is really supposed to be doing what. When it works well. When it doesn't, it's awful. And no MIDI controller support is pretty crappy. They do offer, you can use arcade buttons or arcade controllers or PC keyboards, but at the same time, it just seems kind of silly. I feel like there would have been something that they could have done to add controller support, but whatever, we can take what we get, It's $24 or $48. Either way, it's a great deal, so we can't complain too much, I guess. Use case wise, not only is Gadget for Switch such an amazing little sketchpad to have around anywhere you bring your Switch with you, but it just makes an incredible sound module for your sampler of choice. I personally love making loops in Gadget and then sampling them into Koala to mess around with. In conclusion, Gadget for Switch is a sleeper agent hidden inside your gaming handheld. Although it's less functional than the iOS counterpart, the novelty of having Gadget on the Switch and the unique workflow that accompanies it is well worth the price of entry. It actually kind of opens up a topic I've been wanting to talk about, that like, if you look at the gaming space, budgetary handhelds and gadgets and gear is so weirdly cheap and expensive, and it's like got this huge variety to it. But then when it comes to musicians, we really don't have a lot of variety. Like, especially if you've looked in the last like 8 years, it's the same samplers, it's the same products, repackaged, refurbished, redone, few updates here and there. It's nothing new and creative. Whereas like, if you're looking for like a gaming handheld, there's like 100 out there right now with ridiculous ass specs, all of which under $200. So like, this kind of makes me think more and more about how the gaming landscape and the audio landscape could potentially help each other, really, by helping make more products like this and keeping people involved. But then again, I guess it's really up to use case. If Korg and Nintendo have been working together for over a decade doing this kind of stuff, and it's not more prominent, I guess that kind of speaks for itself. This whole video started with me looking for Android handhelds that I could use to make music on, like the Retroid Pocket or Ambernic, whatever, But then when I found out about Gadget on Switch, it was a no-brainer. Not only is it much cheaper, but everything like the buttons, knobs, and everything already are mapped and have a purpose. It makes so much sense. And in the grand scheme of things, if I'm probably not going to make anything super important on here, and even if I do, I'm just going to put it on my computer anyways. So more or less, if you're looking for like a new piece of gear musically, but you already have a Switch, honestly, you kind of owe it to yourself to try it. For $50, or for right now in March 2023, $24. It is a hard bargain. You cannot, the cheapest hardware sampler or something that you can get right now is a pocket operator at like $80. So like, even still, you're coming in way low on here. So if you've been on the fence about it, just try it. Trust me, I think you're really gonna fuck with it. So thanks for hanging out. This has been Minutia with another video, and I am hoping to do bigger and better things in the future coming forward. A lot of stuff has changed, and I now find myself with plenty of time to be working on stuff. So I will hopefully catch you guys on the next one. If you liked the video, you know what to do. I'll see you later. Peace.